Hi, is now an okay time? Got my tea. I got my my Walker shortbread. Delicious. And this is Yorkshire's. Let me show you the box. Life-giving, but that's not what you're here for. I would like to tell you about my last week with the bear, if you'd like to. And guys, we got a lot to cover. This is not going to be a short story, so go get yourself a little snacky snack, a little drinky drink. The joys and the details, and for those of you asking for the cliff notes, I do not tell short stories, so buckle up. The context you need for this story, okay? The gentleman I am seeing right now, I met a little over a month ago in person off of a dating app. His code name is the Bear. And although I was preparing to be an incredibly sad little Alora post my first ever breakup earlier this year going into this holiday season, life just sometimes can surprise you in the most unexpected ways. So when I set out to start dating, okay, I gave myself 1 month to give it my all on the dating apps. I knew that trying to date right before the holidays is a tricky thing, okay? Because the hope, right, of it going well or not going well, if it doesn't go well, the reality of that. But also, the holidays are a lot to navigate when you are an established couple, let alone brand new to it all. When you're brand new and like 1 week into officially being boyfriend and girlfriend. We met for the first time on October 21st, y'all. It hasn't been that long, but as the Bear says, time is relative, right? So I wasn't stressed about the holidays. And for those of you who are new here, the Bear did come to my sister's wedding last month, where he really got initiated into the family in a really wonderful way. If you haven't seen that date recap, go watch it. It's literally Hallmark movie perfect. But I was a little stressed, just a little bit stressed, because I know my family's a lot. There's just a lot of us. I'm one of 10. And even when it's a smaller group of us, like when not all of my siblings can make it, there's still like a small group of us is 12 or 14 people, and we're loud, we're Italian, we have all these traditions. Like it's just, it's a lot. So a few things happened. Okay. We're going to go sequentially in order last week, to kind of kick off the holiday season for Alora and the Bear. The first was that, my bestie, one of my besties, is due with her second kid on December 21st. Okay, she is ready to go. Okay, but she really wanted to spend some one-on-one time with the Bear, if at all possible, before she had the baby, because then they'll be on newborn lockdown for a little while. So she invited us over for dinner last Tuesday night. So we were going to be spending the evening with her husband, my niece, who's 3, Harper, and my bestie's mom. So I asked the Bear, I was like, listen, I know this is so last minute. I think I gave him like 2 days heads up. I was like, I know this is so last minute. I explained him the situation, but honestly, Shay just really wants to get to know you better. Everyone wants to get to know you better since I'm clearly head over heels. Is this okay with you? And he was like, no worries. I'm free on Tuesday. Let's do it. So I didn't know what to feel going into that evening. I was so excited for my favorite people to be meeting. All of them are a chatty group, okay? Shay, her husband, her mother, Harper, all of them are a wonderfully chatty group. I'm chatty, the Bear is chatty, but I've always had this weird thing where I have a difficult time mixing my friend groups. Historically, whenever I usually have a very, very few close friends, and I don't ever really mix them. I don't know. I just haven't. So I didn't know how that night was going to go. I knew it would be great, but I was a little nervous. I was a little excited. All I knew that as soon as I got out of work, I steamrolled out of there in the pitch black, and I was blasting Chapel Roan the whole way. And I pulled into her driveway literally with Femininomenon on full blast, scream singing lyrics as the Bear pulled in right behind me. And he was like, I thought that was you. And I was like, well, sir, this is serendipitous timing. We can go in together. And I gave him a big hug, and God, I feel so bouncy lately. I feel like I'm always bouncing when I see him. I'm just so excited to see him, for him to be in my space, for our lives to be merging. It's just, I know it's so soon. I don't care. It just feels so right. So, I give him a big hug, and I'm like, I'm so excited that you're here. And we go inside. Immediately everyone comes over to give hugs. Harper is like the most chipper, joyful child you will ever meet in your life. She comes right over and gives him a hug, says hello, wants to give us a tour. She leads us around the whole house. My bestie Shay has prepared for us a homemade lasagna with bechamel sauce because her husband is lactose intolerant and can't do ricotta. So she's like a wizard in the kitchen with making like alternatives. And it was, she made homemade bread. She made homemade everything. She's also just a really good cook. And I could smell it as soon as you walked in. And the house looks all festive because she'll be hosting Thanksgiving for her own family later that week. And it just immediately, boom, boom, boom. Harper gives us the tour. We see her room. We see the nursery, which is all ready for, and this is a running joke in our family, Shay's having a little boy. And I always say for when sweet baby Lawrence arrives. And Shay always tells me, you know, the name is on the list. You just don't know how high on the list it is. Anyway, so we, all get our drinks. We sit down in the living room and it's just, conversation is so easy. The bear and I are on one couch, Shay and her husband Richie on another, Shay's mother is on another, Harper is flitting around all of us, showing us all her things, and we're just gabbing, we're chatting, we're laughing. They're asking the bear about his life, and Shay and I are sharing stories. We're very sassy, okay? We have a very snappy back and forth, relationship, which makes the bear like chuckle a few times, but I was so just lit up from having so many people that I love in one place. Like, at one point, dinner is eventually ready, and I get up to go help see if Shay needs any help in the kitchen, and it's just me, Shay, and her mother. And I was like, Shay, what do you think? And she had met him at my sister's wedding. She actually officiated my sister's wedding. She did a beautiful job. She was like, Alora, we love him. And her mom looks over at me, and she's like, Alora, he's so cute. He is so cute. He's so smart. You hooked a good one. Which, of course, I already knew, but it makes me feel good to hear other people say it. We all sit down for dinner. It is a feast, okay? Shay has made homemade bread, a homemade vinaigrette for like a cranberry, spinach, walnut type of salad with goat cheese. And then the lasagna. And the bear can eat, okay? He's a big guy. But I've never seen him eat so much bread in the short time we've known each other. But everything was just so good and warm, and anxious girly, right? The more moments that happen like this that make me feel so good, So at the end of dinner, I make a tea, and we go and we sit back down in the living room, or we go to sit back down in the living room, and Harper has asked for me to snuggle with her before she goes to bed. And I'm like, girly, yes, please. And I sit down on the couch, and the bear kind of wanders in behind me, and I bring her on my lap, and I give her a big hug and a snuggle. Harper has very curly hair like mine, even though both of her parents have like pin straight hair. So whenever she sees me, she'll be like, Oaz. That's my auntie name, Oaz. She'll be like, Oaz, you have hair like me. So I always wear my hair down for her. But we sit there and I'm snuggling with her. And then the bear walks in and she looks up at him and she pops right up off the couch. And she goes and sits with her parents across from me. And I'm like, Harper, you said you wanted to snuggle with me. Aren't you going to sit with me? And she goes, no. And she looks up at the bear and she goes, he's going to sit with you. And your girl, okay, I don't just sit there, okay? I am like legs tucked up beneath me. I'm snuggled up into this man's side. He loves space, and I discovered that I still had a space, like a planet skirt. I used to wear really bright colors and patterns, and I don't that much anymore. Just seasons of life, right? But I was so excited to show, and I'm like, look, I found a space skirt. Do you like it? And he was like, yep, I love it. And it was just such a joyful evening. They all made fun of me around 9:30 when I started to like slowly pull on my shoes. And they're like, what, Alora, you're not having a good time? And I looked at Shay and Richie and I was like, you two have a 3-year-old and you guys got to get up early. And I looked at the bear and you have a 45-minute commute home and a 45-minute commute back in the morning for work. So I'm going to be the grown up and end tonight. And you all are welcome. Let's jump over to part 2. I forgot Dad, he was also amazing with Harper, like playing kickball with her, being led around by her to see the whole thing. Like, Nobody warned me. How amazing that is to witness too. Part 2 of First Holiday with the Bear story time. And they're all laughing and cracking jokes. And I'm like, listen, as the youngest of all of you, I am 6 months younger than the bear and a few years younger than Shay and Richie. I was like, as the youngest of all of you, please take note of my sacrifice and maturity, okay? So, we were too full from dinner to eat the delicious, like it was like a Boston cream pastry type situation that Shay made. That was so good. But the bear and I both took one for our rides home. Another sip of tea. And about getting together soon, especially after that initial period of craziness ends with the baby, sweet baby Lawrence. And then the bear and I head out to our cars. And when we get outside, it's chilly, but I, throw my stuff into the car, and I run over to him and I give him the biggest hug. And of course, I go high, right? I pull that man down into me and I give him such a big kiss. And I was like, this is literally it was such a wonderful night. Like, I'm just so happy. I'm so happy. He was like, I had a good time too. And I tuck into him for a big hug, and I pull apart for a second, and I'm like, okay, one more. And I pull him down for another kiss. And he starts to pull away, and I grab his arm. I'm like, no, one more. And I give him one more kiss. I was like, man, I'm even missing your lips when I'm pulling you down. He's like, you're the shorter person. You're supposed to go low, and I'm supposed to go high when we give hugs. And I was like, I know, but when I get to pull you down and your head's on my shoulder, I just love it. So, we pack it up, and I ask him to text me when he gets home, which he does because his drive was further than mine. And then we planned for our next adventure together. So the bear has a much smaller family than I do, which means that for holidays, his absence is noticed a little bit more, right? I have a huge family, so if I were to miss a holiday, it would be less noticeable. Not that my family doesn't love me, but there's a lot of people, okay? There's a lot of people at every family gathering. The bear is more missed. However, my family is selling the homestead, the family farm this year, or this coming year. They've already received an offer, so it could happen really soon, which means that this is our last holiday season in the homestead at the farmhouse. So I knew that I wanted to be there for my family's Thanksgiving. I knew that he wanted to be there for his family Thanksgiving. I was fine with that. You want to know what I was fine with that? Because in my mind, I don't know where she gets the audacity. Who is she? I was already thinking, no big deal. This is my last holiday alone. I don't know where that came from. I've spent many holidays alone, but how can you know that about somebody? But sorry, wow. I just knew. I wasn't even worried. I was like, yeah, we're not together for this Thanksgiving, but we'll be together for the rest. Oh my God. I have no chill. God, wow. In the movies, when they talk about, when you just, know when you meet someone, I always thought that was horse shit, but, sorry. Wow. Anyway. So I was gonna have Thanksgiving with my family. I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be fine. This is fine. This is a promising start. He was gonna have Thanksgiving with his family. I'm honestly so happy about it. It just... How can you know something like that? How can it be just a clear line? You can just see the whole... Anything could happen at any time. And we've literally known each other for such a short time. But how... Can you just know that? How do I just know that? Wow, that was not a part of my plan for tonight. Anyway. So we had planned. Historically, my family has like we'll call it a second Thanksgiving on Friday. When everyone gets out of work, if they don't have off, we get together and we decorate my parents' tree. It's a very big old house, the homestead, and we always get a huge tree. Okay, it's like 10 feet tall. Like, it's a big Christmas tree, and we bring down my mom has like 12 big totes of Christmas decorations to decorate the whole house. So we usually bring all the decorations down to decorate the tree, and then she has them so that she can decorate throughout the week. So, and then we usually, on Thanksgiving itself, we usually serve homemade Italian wedding soup, and then, the traditional turkey. My dad makes the most incredible dressing. Mashed potatoes, that kind of thing. And then the day after, because we're all too full, we used to do it all on the same day. The day after, we do my mom's homemade ravioli and homemade sauce that she makes from scratch. And that is a recipe that has been passed down from her mother and her mother's mother. And it's a lot of like tradition, right? So Friday night, we decorate the tree. We have ravioli, and most of my siblings come. Whoever can come comes. And I had asked the bear if he would come to that, and he said yes. So he came to my house after work, and we drove down to the homestead together. It's about 40 minutes away from where I live. And then we planned to just come back and spend the night. And he was going to spend the weekend with me. And when we get to my parents' house, just immediately, everybody is so warm and welcoming. There wasn't even like a formal sit-down period, because everybody either was at work or was drifting in slowly from doing Black Friday shopping. But the bear and I, we say hi to my parents. He immediately goes up to them. He's like, hello, Mr. Campbell. Hello, Miss. Gives my mom a big hug. Hello, Mrs. Campbell. I get him a drink. They had like his favorite whiskey there, which I think my parents also like, but I don't know. It felt really cute that it was there. And my mom shows me that the pasta's ready to go. They've already eaten, but I make them a mound of homemade ravioli with my mom's meatballs and red sauce. I literally do not ever order red sauce out because I'm so partial to my mother's cooking. Like, no other sauce compares. I will eat other kinds of Italian food and other sauces, but never straight red sauce. Fun fact about me. And people are coming in and out. My siblings are slowly starting to arrive one at a time. One of my youngest sister, her boyfriend was visiting from out of town. And we made the joke that, the bear is now the new boyfriend on the block. My youngest sister's boyfriend technically has been with our family longer and has a little bit of seniority. We're all sitting there and laughing and talking. And I'm sitting directly next to him, right? And just the way it just fits. He fits into my life alarms me, clearly. But it's just like a puzzle piece fitting into place. And so although it delights and surprises me how warm and welcoming everyone is, how well he is, responding to them, I'm also not surprised, because what I know of him, from what I've gotten to know of him so far, is just that. He's a warm and welcoming person. My family is warm and welcoming people. So it's all just my sisters start to get there and they're eating dinner, but the bear and I finished. So I was like, why don't we start? You have to go up 2 flights of steps to get to very large flights of steps to get to the attic where all the decorations are stored, all these giant totes. So I was like, how about we at least bring them down the first flight of steps, then my siblings can help us grab the rest. So we head up there. I'm identifying the totes, which ones are, for Christmas. I point out to him there was a cupola at the top of, or like a widow's walk at the very top of our house, but it got struck by lightning a few years before we moved in. So it's boarded over, but you can still see the seat where people used to sit, and the windows are still, or the frames for the windows are still inside of the attic. So it's just we never rebuilt it, but it's a cool little fact. So we came up with a system real quickly. It's a very narrow staircase to get up to the attic. It looks like the oldest part of the house. It's the only part of the house that has never been redone. or updated in any way. So it's original plaster, like with horsehair in the walls. Like it's a little creepy. But he stood at the top of the stairs and kind of slid the totes down for me, and then I piled them up at the bottom of the stairs. And I was like, all right, the only things we need right now are the tote that has, the Christmas tree decorations and like an empty one to put the fall decorations in. Because my mom goes hard for decorating for holidays, okay? But everything else, like the other girls can help us bring down. Does the bear not start taking down like 3 totes at a time? Like the giant strong man that he is, piling them up neatly in the living room or in the parlor where the Christmas tree is. He takes them so quickly that I barely have time to help him get the rest of them down the stairs, and one of my sisters shows up to help do like 1 or 2, and then we're done. And we're ready to go. So I put on Christmas music and we're dancing, and the bear is the tallest person in the family now, by far. I'm the tallest woman, so that feels right somehow. But we are tasked with doing the lights first, which becomes very systematic. I let him take the lead on it. He had like a little step stool for this big tree. Normally we have to get the full ladder. He had it though. He handed the lights to me. We strategically wrapped them around. He's sassing some of my sisters. I'm sassing my sisters. My sister's boyfriend who's there. My other sisters are coming in and we're sassing each other. We're a very sassy family, okay? We're singing to the Christmas songs. We're dancing. We've all got our drinks and we're pulling out ornaments, and they're from like when our family was first started. Some from even when like my parents were kids, and there's just a lot of history behind it. So I show the bear one of like me from when I was 12, or one of like my first like baby ornaments. And he also decorates a Christmas tree with his own family, but they don't do a real tree, which is fine. No shade to all of y'all that like to do your fake trees, but the struggles and the maintenance that are inherent to getting a real tree for Christmas are a part of our family tradition. And my dad has always hated it. He grew up with a fake tree. My mother was the one who grew up with a real tree, and she fought tooth and nail for it every year. And every year we always got a real tree. And that is something like that has stuck with me. I am team real tree for life, baby. I love the struggle of picking it out. I love the smell. I love it all. So this is a giant real tree that we're dealing with here. It smells wonderful. The lights go up and we have those big giant like colorful lights. So it's very like retro, and all of these like old ornaments, some that we made by hand with my mom. We grew up very poor, so a lot of our ornaments are homemade or were given as gifts. Or like we used to make them out of old cards like we'd get, or like the salt dough, like homemade ornaments you can make. We have a lot of those. But it was just fun, and it's a tradition we've had for such a long time, and just seeing him be there, like a part of it. At one point, he took a break to get another drink, and I was sitting there singing, and I like looked back to him, he was smiling, and it was actually perfect, an actually perfect evening. And I wasn't worried about him. I knew he would be, it's always intimidating getting to know someone's family, right? But I knew he'd fit right in. So, by the time the evening's starting to wind down, we head back. I did bring Diggory for the evening. And my grandma lives with my parents, at the moment, and she adores Diggory, so she sent me home with a little ice cream cup for him. And since the bear had enjoyed a whiskey or two, I drove us home. And at one point he tried to like put his arm around my shoulder, but Diggory was in the back seat with his ice cream, and Diggory's a little territorial piece of shit. So even though he loves the bear, when he's got ice cream, ain't nobody making any moves. So he started growling in the back. The bear just got slowly put his arm back down. By the time we got back to my house, Diggory was like in this man's lap again, but heaven forbid, when it's ice cream time. So we get back, and I had asked, can we watch, or have you watched Ted Lasso? Like, that's one of my all-time favorite shows, and I feel like Ted Lasso's personality reminds me of the bear. Just that, like, silver lining, positive kind of vibe. I was like, I feel like you like it. It's like it's an excellent show. So we were going to just watch a few episodes. We ended up watching like 8, and we were rolling. And we started off down here on my couch, and we migrated upstairs, and we're all snugged up. And I was even drifting off at some points, but I always snuggle up to the bear, right? My head is always on his chest. So he would be laughing and my head would be bouncing, and he kept like holding it in place when he would laugh too hard. Like he would just hold my head so it wouldn't shake so much. So I don't even know what time it was by the time we got back from my parents, around 9:30, and I don't even know what time it was after we watched all those episodes, but it was late. I was already falling asleep by the end of one of them, but we snuggle up and we turn off the light and we go to sleep. Before this, I'll have you note that, I am just always prepared for a good time. Okay, always prepared. So I had put on a cute little strappy black lace situation set. Not like full lingerie, just like a cute bra and underwear set. And like I took off my shirt at one point when we were getting ready for bed, and I was like, hey, I look cute. I just want you to know. Like, I know we're going to bed, but I just want you to appreciate how cute I look right now. And he was like, yes, you do. You look very cute. I was like, okay. So I, crawl up beside him. I go to sleep in this black lace thong, black lace bralette situation. Okay. And, I worry because I always have nothing good on my mind. Who is she? That I come on to people too strong, or that I'm misinterpreting when things are happening. But I have also, I've also low-key dreamed my whole life of being woken up for some zesty activities. And as we're drifting off, I don't think I was fully asleep, but I was getting there. As we're drifting off, I feel the bear start to run his hands up and down my back. And he starts playing with my hair. And I'm feeling good. I'm starting to like move a little bit, curled up next to him. And eventually I just raise my head and I gasp. And I'm like, listen, I know it's in the middle of the night. I don't know what o'clock in the morning it is, but it's obscene o'clock in the morning. But you are revving all my engines right now. And if you didn't mean to do that, I will stand down. It's okay if you're tired, but if you're not. And he was like, nope, I'm good. Like, let's go. Mm-hmm. And afterwards, we were in our birthday suits again, just snugged up, self-conscious, don't know her, insecurities, who is she? Soft, jiggly bits all out and about, we're all snugged up. He's laying on his side and spooning me. I'm pressed up against his back, and I had the best night's sleep of my life for the next, I don't think I moved however many hours until the sun came up. And then we're still snugged up when the sun does come up, and your girl's feeling very cheeky, and she does her little hip wiggle into that big spoon. And so I do my little butt wiggle. And round 2 commences. And your girl puts on her cowgirl hat once again. And I'm having a delightful time, okay? Delightful. And at one point the bear is like, have you ever tried reverse cowgirl? And I was like, bear, I've only just learned how to do this with you. No, I've never tried it in reverse, but right now, you want to? He was like, Now, I'm bringing this up not to sensationalize, even though it was a very good time. I was having a very good time. I am being called beautiful. I am being worshipped. My pleasure is being prioritized. I feel like a goddess, okay? Unleashed. Again, insecurity, don't know her. Don't know her, not worried about her. Very unlike me, but it's like it just exits my brain. But I bring this up because, do you want to know, just visualize turning around for reverse cowgirl. And I didn't realize until the moment I'm kind of trying to figure out that position that, oh, this means you're going to see my booty. So much of my booty. All of my booty. And no one's ever really gotten a glimpse of her. And all of a sudden I am a little self-conscious. And I was like, bear, before I do this. And I literally stopped mid-stride. And I was like, listen, I'm not corn star pink. I'm not. It's hella dark down there. Which, again, I'm bringing it up to normalize because not everyone is the same color, okay? And have I been self-conscious about this at different points in my life? Yes, but I've also never been in a position to worry about it with anyone. But all of a sudden, in that moment, I was like, this man is about ready to get a glimpse of the promised land. And it's a dark night. And he was like, who wants that? Who wants corn star pink? I don't want that. You're going to be beautiful. I already know. I felt very beautiful. I felt very beautiful. And I bring this up for a few reasons. There was a moment when I realized I was self-conscious about this, and I didn't really have a lot of time to be self-conscious about it because it was in the moment. And that's probably for the best. But I literally had to be like, nope. Took it out of my brain, put it in a box, locked it up, threw that box into an icy lake, and watched it, just drift to the bottom. Because there are times when you do just have to tell your brain to shut the fuck up and F off to that insecurity. Just don't even give it time to take hold, okay? Which is what I had to do. But also him just encouraging me, telling me I looked beautiful and everything else that occurred that morning. I don't know if people realize how simple words like that, they don't have to be it doesn't have to be dirty talk, just encouragement, compliments. How, yes, I can battle my insecurities and anxiety on my own. But when somebody offers you that kind of reassurance, it helps you get to a secure place so much faster. So yes, I can get there on my own, but with the right kind of assurance, so much faster. So much faster. So we have a jolly good time. And it's now 11 in the morning and our stomachs are rumbling and we have a busy day today. Our Christmas decorating is not over. Our plan is to get a tree for my house and then to go see Gladiator, the new Gladiator. So we got things to do. But when I tell you, my legs, my inner thighs were shaking from muscle failure. But did I get up from that bed and just saunter into the bathroom in my birthday suit? I don't really know where that version of Alora comes from, but who is she? She is me. And I welcome her with open arms. My God. So I make us a big breakfast, some cheesy scrambled eggs with thick sliced bacon, extra crispy, and scrapple. I know it's a weird looking meat, but I grew up with it from my dad, and it's just something I only really eat at the holidays. So I was so excited for us to have it again. And he ate it all. There was nothing left. We gave some bacon to Diggory, but that was about it. I had also told him that, I love, actually, like, my front door has sort of like a little entryway and like cupboards for shoes and coats, but I don't really use my front door because when I moved into this house, they didn't give me the keys to the front door, only to the side door. So I've been using the side door this whole time. And he was like, well, that's no good. I was like, well, do you think we could we buy a door? A door and a lock, like a lock? Can we buy a lock for the door? Can you do that for me? He was like, I'd love to do that for you. You what? You would? Like, I'm an independent lady. I'm sure I could have figured it out eventually, but someone wants to help me do something for my house? What? Okay. So, I have not a drop of alcohol in my house. We go to the liquor store first, and I wanted to get him, I don't drink whiskey, but I wanted to get him a whiskey to just have at my house, like as like a little gift. So there was a whiskey tasting randomly happening at my local liquor store when we walked in. So he picked out a bottle of something new that he had never tried. I got my favorite sweet, it's a dessert wine, Riscato. It's a screw cap wine, you guys. Like, it's barely a step above Moscato. The sweeter the better for me, okay? That's where I'm at. Hard lemonade, my fave. To each their own. But then we head to Home Depot to get the lock, and when we're going inside, I just reached over and took his hand, and I'd never really done that before, and we just walked in hand, and he helped me find the door, and I don't know if this stuff means as much to literally everyone, but that handhold, just being beside him, having someone to ask about something that I needed, like all that, I don't take a drop of it for granted. Not a drop. So we head over to, I just picked a random farm. Happened to be a very poppin' Christmas tree farm. Tons of different options, but it was cold. So even though I was fully prepared to cut my own tree if it was asked of me, and I would have loved that experience with the bear, I always check the pre-cuts first because, I live in a little house. I don't need a giant tree. So the odds of me finding like a 6-foot tree, 5-foot tree, very high. But it's a whole experience for me, okay? I feel the needles for sharpness, for firmness, for softness. I like to smell them all because they all have different scents. If you're not a real Christmas tree person, you might not know this, but all of them have slightly different scents, which I just love. So I'm going around. I'm all bundled up in this huge coat. The bear is just wearing a sweatshirt and no gloves. He didn't want any gloves because he's just built like, I don't know, like a polar bear. It's fine. But he's holding them up for me. And we finally whittle it down to 2 different ones. And we're assessing, which one is bare spots, which is empty spots. Is this a shapely queen? Is this what we want? We eventually find one. And he carries it over to me and we get it wrapped up. And it was able to just fit in my trunk. We didn't even have to tie it on top. But like the glee I had picking it out with him, putting it in my car, how my whole car smelled like evergreen. I held his hand the whole way home when we were driving. Part 5. So I had like feverishly cleaned my house before the bear had come, and I also decorated it all. So it's fully decorated and very festive around here. And the tree stand was out ready for the tree. So we get home, we pop it right in there. We adjust for straightness. And we take the netting off, and she's perfect. She's beautiful. She fits right well where I want her. I'll show you what she looks like at the end. And we start doing up the lights. And I tend, when I moved into this house, I didn't have any Christmas decorations of my own. I did buy white lights. I had a few ornaments that were gifted to me over the years, but then last year, my first year in this house, I invited my sisters over and we made our own homemade ornaments, and we're going to do it again this weekend, actually. So I feel like my tree looks very old-timey, which I kind of love. I have like strings of fake cranberries for it. A string of Cadbury would be good though. And the white lights and the homemade ornaments and candy canes so we're stringing it up. I recently acquired a Polaroid camera, so I'm taking Polaroids of him doing it. And there's just something so nostalgic about having a Polaroid. They're on my fridge now. It's just fun, and I have Christmas music playing in the background, and there's candles lit, and it was so much fun. It was 2 trees in 2 days, but it was so much fun. And at the end, I gave him a big hug. And I was just holding on to him, and we were kind of swaying. And the song that came on, I had like a Christmas ambiance, old-timey video on in the background, was one of his favorite Christmas songs, which is Chestnut Roasting Over an Open Fire. So we were already kind of swaying to it. And I was like, we should slow dance to this. So he takes my hand and we're kind of like slow dancing. And he sings it a little bit to me. And at the end, I give him a big hug, and I feel so happy I could just burst, I think. Like, it's hard sometimes to trust happiness like this because you're just waiting for something terrible to happen, or a part of me is, but also it's life, right? Terrible things happen all the time, but like, I'm trying to get better at just recognizing when I'm happy and just enjoying it, because happiness is fleeting. It comes and goes. I was so happy. I put my arms around his neck, right? I went high. And the man lifts me up off the ground. My feet clear the floor, and I am screeching. Okay, I am not light, all right? 265, all right? I am a heavy gal. Lifts me up off the fucking floor, and I was like, Bear, you're gonna break your back. He was like, I know my limits. And I'm just a giggly girl by the time he puts me back down. I had brought home some of the Italian wedding soup from Thanksgiving for dinner, so I warmed that up for us. And we're just laughing and talking. And I feel like we actually talked about a lot of like kind of like all of our talks, like it's always a mix of like fun, serious, nostalgia, sometimes hard things to say. And it was another beautiful mix of all of that. And it's a way of overlapping, right? You're overlapping into someone's life. They're overlapping into yours when they let you know them that way, when they make the effort to know you in turn. And I love that. I love that about talking to him, getting to know him. He asked me for a book recommendation for his niece. She's 8. I gave him one of my all-time favorite books, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And he was like, do you think you could recommend her like a book a month? And I was like, absolutely. I have all reading levels of books in my house. Absolutely. I hope that wasn't too hard for her though. It's okay. I'm going to get her the audiobook if it is. Anyway. Eventually we head over to the theater, and it is packed. Okay, it is a holiday weekend. It is packed. We had just rewatched the first Gladiator last weekend. In preparation for this one, I get myself a popcorn. I was going to get myself a little popcorn. We ended up getting the giantest one that we sat between our legs, and we kind of held it in place with our thighs because this was like the reclining chair kind of theater. And the middle, like the armrest came up. So like we had the popcorn between us, and we're just slowly munching, right? And then I pushed the armrest up and I snuggled with him for the whole of that movie. And is it as good as the original? Not my opinion. Is it entertaining? Was I not entertained? Yes. And that's why we went. It was really fun. And we were a little naughty and chatted very lightly sometimes during the movie, but no one was sitting like directly next to us, and the aisles, like each row was really high up, but it was just fun. It was around like 10:30 when we got back. We were wiped. We went straight to bed. And curled up, both of us just pretty much wearing briefs. Sometimes I feel like too overstimulated with how happy I am when I'm snuggling with him and going to sleep, because it is still such a new experience, but I also sleep so well when I'm snuggled up with him. And maybe this will peter off eventually, but I don't leave him alone. He turns, I turn. I turn, he turns. And like when he pulls me in to be the big spoon, even if I'm the big spoon, or like when he turns and he's on his back and like literally he just raises his arm and I don't even need the invitation. I'm just there snugged up. Sunday morning rolls around and we have slept again too late. But it's a slower morning. It's a slower day. And he's like, oh, I have so much to do. I need to get going. Let's go have breakfast. And I was like, well, can't we just like fool around a little bit first? And you know what? I always say, it's okay if you're not in the mood for this. It's okay if you're tired. It's okay if you don't want to do this right now. But I always want to. Always. And after we were cuddled up and the sun was kind of coming in and we were like looking at each other and he was like, do you know the song Brown Eyed Girl? And I was like, yes, it's like the only one that exists for like, that's like fun for us brown eyed girls. He sang it to me a little bit. We got up and had another big breakfast. It was delicious. And I've been making I have a lot of different teas from the UK. I love really strong black teas. So we had Welsh tea with some of my family's honey. Amazing. And we're talking about all sorts of things again, and about like what our dream house is, which is very aligned. Very aligned, okay? What our dreams for like our future careers are, and he's asking me about, these are things that we talked about through a whole week, or we've talked about before, but we're talking about more in depth, talking about my books or my writing and my dreams, his dreams. And he was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know if you know this yet, Bear, but I'm in your corner now. If you have dreams, they're now my dreams. I want to help you make your dreams come true too. He has a work trip coming up next week and he'll be gone for 2 weeks. So I requested that he leave me a shirt sprayed with his cologne, which he did. And I am a very happy girl. I have a new blankie. This is me snugged up with him while we're looking at our little tree. And if you didn't get this from my story already, your girl is just very, very happy. He replaced the lock on my door before he left, and I gave him a big hug and a kiss. I followed him to the door. I gave him another big hug and a kiss. He was like, bye, Laura. I leaned on the doorway and I was like, bye. I may have also given him a key, which I didn't really think about in the moment, but it felt right. So don't tell me to slow down or be careful. I'm already gone. It's too late. That's all for now.